Hello and welcome to Lapping Analytics. My name is Jimmy Lapping. I'm a psychologist and statistician with an interest in a range of topics, including the statistical forecasting of sports events. And one of my favorite topics is football or soccer. Not because I'm a big fan, I don't follow any of the teams in much detail, but I just enjoy trying to forecast the outcomes of football or soccer matches, which is not easy, which is probably one of the reasons why I enjoy it, using different models and trying to see which one works best, trying to improve. And well, okay, I'm not going to give a whole mathematics lecture in this video on the exact background of the model that I used to forecast these matches. I have several videos already on my channel. And actually, those are among the most viewed videos on my channel. And the last one that I did on this matter, I actually explained the most recent version of the model that I use, which I'm also going to use for this video, which is basically using the last 5 matches of each of two opponents in a match in the given league and add a so-called prior distribution to account for eventual last-minute surprises like injuries, or because, for instance, a team have already won or already lost, or cannot proceed, or that they're very likely to proceed, and that's why they have less of an interest, for instance, in giving it all. So let's just, for instance, take Bayern versus Inter. What I do is I take the last 5 home matches of Bayern in the Champions League and the last 5 away matches of Inter in the Champions League. And what I say for Bayern is, okay, the last 5 matches, the goals that they scored, this is used as information of the scoring potential of Bayern Munich versus an opponent when playing home in the Champions League, while the goals that Bayern receive against, that is actually an indicator of the scoring potential of an opponent against Bayern Munich when they have to go to the Allianz Arena in Munich. For Inter, what I do is I take the last 5 away matches, the goals that Inter scored in those last 5 away matches in the Champions League. I use as an indicator of the scoring potential of Inter Milan in away matches in the Champions League, whereas the goals that they got against are used as an indicator of an opponent's scoring potential against Inter Milan when that opponent are playing at home. So when Inter is the away playing team. So I've done that for these 4 matches. Again, up over and above these 5 matches for each of the two teams, I have the so-called prior distribution, which actually allows me to take into account for, as I said, last-minute surprises like injuries, or already having qualified for something, or most likely having qualified, or most likely not having qualified for the next round. That kind of information I can take into account. Today I didn't use such information because to my knowledge, there is no information of that kind that I need to take into account, and it's also the first leg of 2 in the quarterfinals. Maybe for next week, I hope that I can do a video for that round as well. In a week from now is leg 2 of 2, which you will see actually a switch. So Inter will play at home and Bayern will play away, etc. The same for the other 3 matches. Then, depending on the outcomes of today and eventual injuries, etc., I might actually use information in that prior distribution. Again, I'm not going to give more of a mathematics explanation in this video. If you want to know more about the background of the model I use, you can find a previous video, actually several, but especially the last one on this matter, where I explain the model that I'm using. So let's apply this to Bayern Munich versus Inter as a starting point. So Bayern Munich versus Inter is one of the 2 matches of today at 9 o'clock Central European summertime. And what we see here is that based on the last 5 matches of each in the Champions League, Bayern Munich are in a slight advantage. You would say there is about a 40% chance of a Bayern Munich win and a 29.3% chance of an Inter Milan win. And when we break it down in terms of specific differences in number of goals for each team, the gray bar meaning a draw, so 0 goal difference, and then here to the left, 1, 2, 3 goals of difference in favor of Bayern, and to the right, 1 or 2 goals difference in favor of Inter. Actually, the most likely outcome, which is the tallest bar here, is a 0 goal difference. So the chart on the left indicates a slight favor for Bayern Munich. If one of the two teams is going to win, then it's probably going to be Bayern Munich. But in terms of actual numbers of goal difference, you could also predict a draw as the most likely outcome here, which is still just over 30% chance of a draw, and there is a decent chance that also Inter wins. So in this case, based on these two charts together, I predict that the final outcome between Bayern and Inter will be a draw. Between Arsenal and Real Madrid, the picture is quite different based on the last 5 matches of each in the Champions League. So the last 5 home matches for Arsenal, that is, and the last 5 away matches for Real Madrid. I see there is an almost 57% chance that Arsenal win the match, only 26 or almost 27% chance that Real Madrid win the match. Actually, the chance of a draw is small here. And when we look at the actual, the prediction on specific difference in numbers of goals for the two teams, then we could say, okay, the gray bar is no difference in number of goals, so that would be a draw. To the left, again, 1, 2, or 3 goals in favor of Arsenal, and to the right, 1, 2, or 3 goals in favor of Real Madrid. And in this case, well, the most likely outcome is this bar here, which indicates 2 goals difference in favor of Arsenal. So all in all, having with these two charts together, you would say 2 goals in favor of Arsenal is probably the most likely outcome. Well, given that this is the first leg of 2, maybe both teams play a bit conservatively. You might actually, okay, this bar here, 1 goal difference, is also it's the second most likely outcome. So one could say most probably a 1 or 2 goal difference in favor of Arsenal. But in any case, Arsenal being the clear favorites in tonight's match. Barcelona versus Dortmund, somewhat similar to what we saw in the Arsenal versus Real Madrid case. Not as pronounced, but still just over 50% chance that Barcelona win, and only 30% chance that the German team win. So actually, you see that so only 18% chance of draw, and when you look at the outcome, the predicted outcome in terms of a specific difference in number of goals between the two teams. Again, the gray bar is a draw, no difference in number of goals. Towards the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals of difference in favor of Barcelona, and to the right, 1, 2, or 3 goals of difference in favor of Madrid. Dortmund in this case, of course, it's Barcelona versus Dortmund. And the two most likely outcomes are either a draw or here on the left, 2 goals difference. So, well, and also the 1 goal difference is still quite likely. So here, most probably, I mean, based on the combination of these two charts, Barcelona is clearly more likely to win this match. The difference between Barcelona and Dortmund in terms of winning probabilities is, for example, bigger than it was for Munich versus Inter, where it was a 40% versus a 29 point something. Here it's 52 versus 30. So I would say, okay, Barcelona is the most likely winner of this match, and probably it's going to be a 1 or 2 goal difference in favor of Barcelona. Finally, Paris Saint-Germain versus Aston Villa. Here we see that both teams are almost equally likely, about equally likely to win tonight's match. Slight advantage for Aston Villa, but it's very small. And when we look at the distribution of goal differences, we see that actually 4 events have somewhat of a likelihood of occurring. The draw, which is just over 18%, then the 1 goal difference for Paris Saint-Germain is actually the most likely outcome. On the other side, you also see that the 1 or 2 goal difference for Aston Villa is also quite possible, but you see here more bars to the left as well, which of course also contribute to that bar for Paris Saint-Germain going to 40%. Because, well, it's although these are, I mean, the size of the numbers of goal difference doesn't matter for this bar on the left. But all these outcomes do add to these to the 40% that you see for Paris Saint-Germain. So here I would say that the most likely outcome based on the two charts is a draw. So what does that mean for the four matches in the first leg of the quarterfinal in the Men's Champions League that we're going to see today and tomorrow? Two matches tonight, two matches tomorrow night. For Bayern Munich versus Inter, I predict a draw. For Arsenal versus Real Madrid, I predict a victory for Arsenal. For Barcelona versus Dortmund, I predict a victory for Barcelona. And for Paris Saint-Germain versus Aston Villa, I predict a draw. Of course, no guarantee that it's actually going to play out like this. For each of the four scenarios, it's a matter of probabilities, and well, the chance that all four matches result in exactly this outcome is very small. I didn't calculate it, but it is going to be very small, smaller than 25% for sure. But anyway, for each of these four matches, these are the most likely outcomes. Okay, I hope you found this video entertaining, helpful, useful, insightful, whatever. And probably I will also do a video for the second leg of two for the quarterfinal, which will be in about a week from now. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you soon on this channel. Bye bye.